For many Australians, retirement is seen as the reward after decades of hard work. But behind that dream is a growing question. Will retirement actually be affordable? In the past, retirement was simple. People worked, stopped working when they were older, and relied on family or basic support if they had no savings. But today, retirement has become one of the biggest financial challenges facing ordinary people. Australia is one of the wealthiest countries in the world, yet millions of people still worry about whether their money will last through their later years. So the big question is, how did retirement become something that requires decades of planning, personal savings, government support, and an entire financial industry built around helping people survive after work? For much of history, retirement was not a normal stage of life. Most people simply worked for as long as they could. When they became too old or too sick to continue, they depended on their family, their community, or whatever support was available. The idea of stopping work at a certain age and living from a pension is actually quite modern. Australia's retirement system changed dramatically over time. One of the biggest changes came with the introduction of compulsory superannuation. Before super became a major part of retirement planning, many workers depended heavily on government support or employer pension arrangements. But over time, the responsibility shifted. Instead of retirement mainly being a promise from an employer, workers were encouraged to build their own retirement savings through superannuation accounts. The idea was simple. Workers would put money aside during their working years, employers would contribute, and those savings would help fund life after work. But this also changed who carried the risk. In the past, employers often carried this responsibility of providing income after retirement. Today, individuals have a much bigger role in managing their own retirement future. Your super balance depends on many things: how much you earn, how long you work, how much is contributed, investment performance, fees, and how long you live. And that last point is becoming more important than ever. Australians are living longer than previous generations. A person retiring in their 60s may need enough money to support 20, 25, or even 30 years of life after leaving the workforce. That means retirement is no longer just about having enough money for a few years. It is about creating a financial plan that can survive decades. The cost of retirement also continues to rise. Housing, groceries, transportation, energy bills, and healthcare all take a major share of household spending. For many older Australians, healthcare becomes one of the biggest concerns because medical needs usually increase with age. Even people who have saved carefully can face unexpected costs that put pressure on their retirement income. This is why the amount people actually have saved matters so much. Many people look at average superannuation balances and assume retirees are financially comfortable, but averages can hide the reality. A small number of Australians with very large balances can raise the average figure, while many everyday workers have much less. The person in the middle often faces a very different situation. A retirement balance that looks large on paper can quickly become smaller when it has to cover many years of living expenses. For example, a person with a moderate super balance may only be able to withdraw a limited amount each year if they want their money to last. When combined with government support, such as the age pension, it may provide a basic lifestyle, but not always the retirement many people imagined. And this is where the retirement industry becomes a major part of the story. Australia's superannuation system now controls a huge amount of money. Those savings are invested across shares, property, bonds, and other assets. Every dollar in the system creates opportunities for financial companies, investment managers, and service providers. The retirement industry has grown because Australians need help managing one of the biggest financial decisions of their lives: how to turn decades of savings into income that lasts. Fees may seem small when people first look at their super account, a percentage here, a management cost there, but over a working lifetime, even small fees can make a major difference because they reduce the amount of money that stays invested and grows over time. A person can work for decades, contribute regularly, and still lose a significant amount of potential growth because of costs they may not notice. This is why retirement planning is not only about how much money goes in, it is also about how much money stays there. When people talk about retirement in Australia, they often focus on one number. How much money do I need before I can stop working? But the real answer is more complicated. Retirement is not only about the amount sitting in your super account, it is about how long that money needs to last, what happens to prices over time, and what unexpected costs appear along the way. For many Australians, the biggest challenge is not reaching retirement age. It is making sure their money survives retirement. This is where the age pension becomes an important part of the picture. The age pension was created as a safety net, not as a replacement for a full working income. It was designed to help Australians who do not have enough private savings to fully support themselves. But over time, retirement expectations changed. People now live longer, costs have increased, and more Australians are expected to combine different sources of income: superannuation, personal savings, investments, and government support. The reality is that many retirees depend on more than one source. Super may provide part of their income, while the age pension helps cover the rest. For some Australians, the pension is a small backup. For others, it is the main source of money they rely on every week. This creates a major difference between retirees. Some enter retirement with a strong financial position, while others spend their later years carefully managing every expense. One of the biggest reasons for this difference is not just how much people save, it is when they start saving. Someone who begins building retirement savings early has more time for their money to grow. Someone who starts later has fewer years for investments to build momentum. This is why two people with similar incomes can reach retirement with completely different financial situations. Another challenge is that retirement planning depends on things nobody can predict. Markets can rise or fall. Interest rates can change. Living costs can increase. A person may retire during a strong economy, while another person retiring at the same age may face a market downturn. The timing can make a huge difference. This is one of the biggest risks of relying on personal retirement savings. The responsibility is placed on the individual. You're not only saving the money, you are also dealing with investment decisions, market changes, and the question of how much you can safely spend each year. Then there is inflation. Inflation is one of the quiet forces that can reduce retirement comfort over time. $1 today does not buy the same amount of goods and services bought years ago. Many retirees feel this most in areas like groceries, housing, and healthcare. Even when income increases slightly, rising costs can make it feel like money is becoming tighter. Healthcare is especially important because people usually spend more on medical needs as they get older. Australia has Medicare, which provides important healthcare support, but retirees can still face expenses for medicines, specialists, dental care, private services, and other costs. Long-term care is another major concern. Many people underestimate how expensive aged care can become if they need support later in life. A retirement plan that looks comfortable at age 65 may look very different years later if health needs increase. Another issue is that not everyone reaches retirement in the same way. Some people choose to work longer because they enjoy their career or want to stay active. But for others, working longer is not really a choice. Health problems, job loss, caring responsibilities, or changes in the workplace can force people to leave work earlier than expected. This creates a serious problem. Many retirement plans assume people will work until a certain age, save consistently, and retire exactly when they want. But life does not always follow that plan. A person may plan to work until 70, but their health may change at 62. Someone may expect to keep earning a steady income, but their job may disappear. These unexpected changes can have a major effect on retirement savings. There is also a difference between men and women when it comes to retirement outcomes. Many women have lower retirement balances because of years spent outside the workforce caring for children or family members. Lower lifetime earnings and career breaks can reduce superannuation contributions. At the same time, women often live longer, meaning their retirement savings may need to support more years. This creates a retirement gap that can continue well into later life. None of these challenges happen because of one single decision. Australia's retirement system developed through many changes over many years. Superannuation helped millions of Australians build wealth for retirement. The age pension has helped reduce poverty among older Australians. Financial services have created tools that help people manage their money, but every system has trade-offs. The more responsibility placed on individuals, the more important financial knowledge and planning become. And as Australia's population ages, the pressure on the retirement system will continue to grow. Australia's aging population is putting more pressure on the entire retirement system. More people are reaching retirement age, while the number of working Australians supporting the economy is changing. This creates a difficult question. How does a country provide a secure retirement for a growing number of older people while keeping the system sustainable for future generations? The challenge is not only about government payments, it is also about how Australians prepare during their working years. The retirement system depends on a balance between personal savings, employer contributions, and government support. If one part becomes weaker, pressure moves to the others. Superannuation was introduced to reduce the future pressure on the age pension by encouraging people to build their own retirement savings. Over time, super has become one of the largest pools of retirement money in the world. For many Australians, their super account is the biggest financial asset they will ever own outside their home. But having a large national pool of money does not mean every individual is financially secure. The money is spread unevenly. Some Australians retire with hundreds of thousands of dollars in super. Others reach retirement with very little saved. This difference often comes from income, employment history, career breaks, and the ability to save consistently. A worker on a higher income usually has more money contributed into super over their lifetime. Someone on a lower income may struggle to build the same level of savings because more of their income is needed for daily expenses. This creates a retirement system where people's outcomes can be very different even after working for many years. Another important factor is housing. For many Australians, owning a home has become one of the biggest advantages in retirement. A homeowner may enter retirement without paying rent, giving them more flexibility with their income. But renters can face a much harder situation because housing costs continue even after they stop working. As rental prices increase, older Australians who do not own a home may need a larger amount of income just to maintain a basic lifestyle. This is why retirement security is not only about superannuation, it is also about whether someone has stable housing. The financial decisions people make before retirement can have long-lasting effects. Choosing when to access super, how to invest, and how much to spend each year can change the future outcome. Many retirees face a difficult balance. They want to enjoy their retirement, but they also need to make sure their money lasts. Spend too much too early, and they may struggle later. Spend too little, and they may miss the chance to enjoy the years they worked so hard to reach. This is why retirement planning has become a major industry. Financial advisors, investment companies, super funds, and banks all offer services designed to help people make these decisions. For many Australians, professional advice can be valuable, but it is also important to understand that financial products and services often come with costs. The retirement industry exists because there's a huge amount of money involved. Super funds manage enormous investments. Companies compete to manage retirement savings. Every fee, every investment choice, and every financial decision can affect a person's final retirement outcome. This does not mean the system does not work. For many Australians, superannuation has helped create financial security that previous generations did not have. But it does show why understanding the system matters. Small choices made over decades can create very different results. Another major retirement decision is when to stop working. Many people believe retirement happens at a specific age, but in reality, retirement is often based on financial ability. Some people continue working because they want to. They enjoy their career, like staying active or want extra income. Others continue working because they have no other choice. The rising cost of living has made this reality more common. Working longer can improve retirement finances because it allows more time for savings to grow and fewer years for those savings to be used. But it is not always possible. A person's health, job opportunities, and personal circumstances all play a role. This creates a gap between the retirement people imagine and the retirement they actually experience. The dream is simple: work hard, save money, and enjoy a comfortable retirement. But the reality depends on many factors outside a person's control. Economic conditions, housing markets, investment returns, and health costs can all change the picture. As Australia moves forward, the retirement question will become even more important. The country must find a balance between helping older Australians live with dignity and ensuring the system remains fair for younger generations. The future of retirement will depend on the choices made today. So what does the Australian retirement system actually provide? The answer is both positive and complicated. On one side, Australia has built a system that gives millions of people more retirement support than previous generations had. Superannuation has helped workers build savings throughout their careers. The age pension continues to provide a safety net for those who need extra support. Together, these systems have reduced the risk of many older Australians falling into serious financial hardship. But the challenges are also clear. Retirement today requires more personal planning than ever before. People are expected to manage their super, understand investments, prepare for rising costs, and make decisions that could affect decades of their future. The responsibility has moved closer to the individual. For some Australians, this creates opportunity. Those who earn a steady income, save consistently, and make smart financial decisions can build a strong retirement position. But for many others, the system is much harder. A person can work for 40 years and still reach retirement with uncertainty. They may have some super savings, but they also face rising expenses, longer life expectancy, and unexpected costs. The biggest retirement risks are often the ones people cannot see coming: a market downturn at the wrong time, a serious health issue, years of higher living costs, a need for aged care. Any one of these can change a retirement plan. This is why retirement is not only a financial question. It is also a question about security, choices, and quality of life. The future of retirement in Australia will depend on how the country responds to major changes. The population is aging. People are living longer. The cost of housing and healthcare continues to increase. And younger generations are looking at a future where retirement may look very different from what their parents experienced. Governments will continue to debate changes to pensions, superannuation rules, and retirement policies. Some argue that people need more support. Others argue that individuals need to take more responsibility for their own future. The reality is that no single solution will fix every challenge. A strong retirement system needs a combination of personal savings, employer support, and government protection. Other countries have taken different approaches. Some rely more heavily on government pensions. Others use large collective retirement funds, where risks are shared among many people. Australia chose a system built around compulsory superannuation and personal responsibility. That system has created one of the largest retirement savings pools in the world. But the success of the system is not only measured by how much money exists, it is measured by whether ordinary Australians can actually enjoy a secure retirement. Because at the end of the day, retirement is not about a number on a statement. It is about having enough confidence to pay the bills, handle unexpected problems, and enjoy life after decades of work. Now, the retirement question facing Australia is simple. Will people have enough resources to support the longer lives they are now living? For some, the answer will be yes. For others, the answer will depend on difficult choices, careful planning, and the support available around them. Retirement is no longer just about reaching a certain age. It is about reaching a point where your money, your health, and your circumstances allow you to step away from work with confidence. That is the economics of retirement in Australia.